Good morning. Okay, so I'm sorry I am behind schedule today. I posted saying that I was juggling day job and coaching today and that I was hoping I'd be on like within half an hour, and then turns out it was basically an hour later. So that's what happens when you do the juggle sometimes. Real life. But anyway, we're here now. That's what matters. So, hello, happy Wednesday. How are you all doing? Yeah, I've gone straight from work into this, and I should probably take a minute in between to like sort my brain out, but here we are. What I want to talk about actually this week, the life chat part. So I am now, what are we on? 9 days into kid-free time, which is way more than I've ever done before. So it's a weird time for me. And I see Jennifer and Claire. Hi. So it's because it's been the longest I've ever been without them. We have had some video calls, and my co-parent is really good about like if she'll like do a picture for me. My co-parent will send me a picture of it or voice notes and stuff. So it's not like we have no communication whatsoever, but I do try and let the girls lead it as opposed to me calling. Because I don't want to be disruptive on their side. So, if they're perfectly fine and happy, I don't want to call and then upset them when they weren't upset and like disrupt whatever they're doing. So I do try really to let them call whenever they want to, which is awful because I just want to call and see what they're doing. I just want to call every morning and be like, hi, I miss you. What are you doing? But that's not fair on them. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that front. And then, so things with work have actually been a little bit quieter lately, which every time I say that, I'm like, oh, don't say it, you're going to jinx it. And I knew it was going to come in peaks and troughs, and it certainly is. So last night I was working till 1 a.m, which, is not a quiet time. But the last week was much better. And then the weekend, when I expected to be working most of the weekend, I didn't. So you might have seen that I put up saying, oh, this is weird. So Saturday morning, because I didn't make any plans for the weekend because I thought I'd be working, and also because like all of my friends were out of town. But I woke up Saturday morning with every intention, like in the leading up to the weekend, when I knew it was quiet, I thought I'll probably go to the beach. And then Saturday morning came and I was like, my bed is so nice. I don't want to get out of bed. But then I started going in this like, I'll just sit around to watch TV all day. That sounds kind of nice. But I knew full well that wasn't going to light me up. There was no way I was going to finish a day of TV and be like, that was amazing. I knew that I wanted to go to the beach. The beach is always my happy place. So what it took for me that day was, luckily, my friend texted saying, so are you going to the beach today? And I was like, I'm still in bed. She said, get up and go to the beach. And I said, okay. You're right. That is exactly what I need to do. So sometimes you need, even me as an intimacy coach, as who does this, as a living, needs that reminder to bring in support. So this is your reminder to bring in support and have good people around you who can say like, Lindsey, your future self is going to thank you if you go to the beach. Or, I've shared before where I've had somebody who just said like, go to bed, Lindsey, like things always look better in the morning. Don't stress about tonight, go to bed. I'm like, I just needed that reminder. So point 1 of today is to really like draw in your support and that is never a bad thing, having these people around you who reflect back on you, your best self, and tell you what it is that you need and really can help cheer you along. So none of what I do is ever on my own. Like I will never ever proclaim to be self-made in any sense. Like even when we're sitting here, down the road and I'm a millionaire with, a team of people, like I will never say that, I was self-made, because everything I do, I get support from people around me, whether it's paid support or whether it's my best friend saying, you're going to want to go to the beach. So that's thing number 1. Thing number 2 that came out of going to the beach this weekend was I did it differently than usual. So whenever I do go to the beach, I always tend to go east, to the east coast of England. So I go over to like Saltburn by the Sea is one of my absolute favorite places. It's beautiful, this cute little town. It's bigger than a village, I guess. But but I've been there a few times now, so I know where I can get lunch. I know my favorite restaurants there. It's pretty easy to get to, so I tend to go that way. And I don't think I've ever really gone to the West Coast. So this time I decided I wanted to go to the West Coast. And my good friend Anna suggested Formby Beach near Liverpool. And so I decided to go there. Now again, I laid in bed and just lazed around for ages. And then when I finally got up, I wanted to do some house stuff. So I did the dishes and did the laundry and hoovered everything and did a bunch of stuff. So it was noon by the time I actually got out of the house. And I know that sometimes people can go, oh, well, I've wasted half the day. I'm not going to go. But I had literally no plans and nothing to do. So jumping in the car at noon was not a problem. Yes, it took me 3 hours to get there. There was an accident on the way, so I spent a bit of time just, sitting. But I love driving. So I listened to an audiobook for a good chunk of the time. I'm listening to Rich as Fuck by Amanda Francis, which is really good. So it's all about changing your money mindset, and it's about, kind of your underlying beliefs towards money, which honestly are the same sort of underlying beliefs as we have towards everything else that we want in life. With so many of these concepts, the concepts are the same regardless of what we're working on. It's just applying them in a slightly different context, and hearing that same message over and over and over is so helpful for me. So I spent a good couple hours listening to Amanda Francis talk about money mindset and, coming up with my big dreams of what I want to do. And then I switched to some music to let that bed in. So, I had a great drive in the sunshine, listening to this development book and then rocking out to music I love. And I didn't care that I was sat, not really moving for half an hour and that it took longer to get there. Mind you, a big part of this enjoyment was the fact that there were not two little children in the back seat saying, "Are we there yet? Can we have some more snacks? I need a wee, So it was much more peaceful on my own, I am not going to lie. But that was part of the fun. But then, so I got there and I literally, so when my friend told me to go to Formby Beach, I Googled it and went, oh yeah, it looks pretty. And then I put it in my Google Maps on my phone and just went. I did not look up parking. I did not look up food. I did not look up anything. I just got in the car and drove. And it took me right there. As I was pulling into the car park, a few drops of rain landed on my windows, on my windshield. And I literally laughed out loud and said, no, I've just spent 3 hours in the car to get here. I am not available for rain today. Not available for this. And it stopped raining. I felt, this all-powerful weather god. But, rain was not going to ruin my day. I was not here for it. And then it didn't. So as soon as I stepped foot on the sand, obviously I was it soothes my soul. I could hear the waves. I could feel the sand. It just washes through me. I love it so much. So I'm in a new place I haven't been to before. And then the other thing, that kind of came up that day is, so when I go to the East Coast and to the North Sea, it is bloody freezing. I don't know if there's a time of year when it does get warm, but I have not been there at that time. Every time I have ever been to the North Sea, it is freezing cold. So that's what I expected when I went this direction. And then, so I'm wearing jeans, and so I rolled up my jeans a little bit to just go wading in because I never go past my ankles. And then it wasn't that cold. And the tide was coming in, so it was fairly splashy. So my jeans got wet. So I tried to roll them up some more. That didn't work. And then I had a moment of, well, why don't I just take them off? It's my underwear look just like a swimming suit. Nobody's ever going to know the difference. They are the same. So forget it. I'm just going to go in so I can go in a bit further without getting totally soaking wet. So take my jeans off and throw them around my neck like a scarf so that I can go in a bit further. Then it's still not cold. So I'm wading in now and it feels really good. So I went and put my bag over on the beach, up high enough where I thought it would be safe, although I did have to dash back because the tide wasn't coming in pretty quickly. But so now I'm wading in, I've got my t-shirt rolled up, and then even then a big wave takes me and gets me all wet. So finally I just decide, fuck it, I'm taking my shirt off too, so I go throw my t-shirt up on the beach with my stuff. And so now I'm in my bra and underwear and I just go diving into the waves, head first under the water. It felt so good. It has been so long since I've just been in the ocean and been bashed around by the waves, and oh, what a good happy place. Like paddling on the, in the shallow end and sitting on the sand is so good for my soul. But turns out being in the water, submersed in it, is so much better even. So I had a great time just, splashing around, floating in the water, getting, smashed around by the waves. It was so good. It did mean, so when I came out, because it was super windy on Saturday too, so all of my stuff was just like covered in sand and, just felt like it was never gonna come out. But I did have a couple spare shirts because I thought it was gonna be cold. So I let my jeans dry out in the wind and had a spare shirt to keep me warm, so that was fine. But it just felt so like freeing. And as I was sitting there, I was thinking about, I talked about it before, but when we went back to Wisconsin last October and I took that 3-day trip to Las Vegas in California, and that trip really was like oh my gosh, like I can do these things. I can go to Vegas and California on my own, and I am like that who does she think she is energy of like, this is my life. And that's how I channeled that sitting on the beach of like, this is who I am. I get to do what I want. It gets to feel good. Like everything is available to me right now. So I was consciously channeling that, and it felt so amazing. And then I got back in the car to drive home after a couple hours. Actually, no, another thing that came up while I was there was, and this one's a more vulnerable share, but in my talking about dating and stuff, so I'm still on not dating anyone at the moment. On pause from that with work, and then with the guy who I'd been seeing, but we paused it. But whenever when I think about my epic love story and my exactly man, and I do have this really, really deep knowing that like I get to have this epic love story, and I get to have somebody who I feel this way about and feels this way about me, and like I know this is happening, but I can see it so clearly in my head with me and this exactly man. And I'm not saying a specific person in my mind, but this concept of an exactly man. But I always get a bit stuck when I'm picturing my exactly man with my girls. Like I can't quite picture it with how that's going to mix together. That's like a step too far for my brain to take it right now. And actually being at the beach this weekend by myself was the first time that I had this like clear vision of my exactly man walking down the beach, holding hands with Nora, Evie like running in circles behind him and around him, and me like running up laughing behind him. And it struck me that it's no coincidence that being somewhere like that lights me up so much is the first place that I could really have this clear vision of this thing that I so strongly desire. So when we get to a place where we are so aligned with who we are and we really focus on lighting ourselves up, that's when we make it possible for these big dreams of ours to come true. So of course it was on the beach where I could see this man holding the girls' hands and like, being one big happy family. So that was pretty powerful. Then the other big thing that happened Saturday, so while I'm in this vibe of like, I do new things, I push edges, I do things on my own, like it lights me up. The day before, I had been telling somebody at work, somebody had asked me, oh, I see that you've gone out on your own, like that seems scary. And I said, oh, I like going out to eat on my own. That's not scary at all. I said, oh, but I don't go to the pub for a drink on my own. Like that is too scary. That's different. Like I'll go out for a meal, but no, I don't just go to the pub for a drink. And then Saturday at the beach, I was hearing that back in my head and thinking, oh, I don't like that. I don't want that to be a limit of mine. Like, why can I go out to dinner with no problem on my own? Or, like I said, go to Vegas or California or do all these things, but I won't go to the pub for a drink on my own? No, I'm not okay with this. So when I got back to Sheffield, still beach hair, fresh from the ocean, I went straight to the pub with my book, and I got a glass of wine, and I sat and had a glass of wine and a bag of crisps and read my book. And you know what? It wasn't scary at all. It never is. So here's the thing that I have found for me is, and also because I'm pretty good at knowing like what my next edge is and what my next limit is, and I don't go too far beyond that. So I am not a fan of telling people like, if you're here and you want to get to here, take it in one big leap. Your nervous system is going to freak the fuck out, and you're going to get all dysregulated. And it's not to say it's not possible. And sometimes the big leaps are what we need. But in a lot of cases, if your nervous system freaks out, it's actually not ideal. The better way to do that is taking the small steps, like push that edge, push that edge, push that edge, and then you're up there. So I'm pretty good at knowing like what my next steps are. And so oftentimes like this, like with the going to the pub on my own, it seems like this scary thing in my head. And then I do it and I'm like, what was the issue, Lindsay? That actually wasn't scary in the slightest. Or like if I put up a post about something I'm scared about, I'm like, this is going to be a scary post. And then I do it and I'm like, oh, that actually wasn't scary at all. That was fine. So that was how the pub felt to me. Like I was sat there going, what exactly was my problem with this? So then on Sunday, so I did have then a chilled out day on Sunday. Got loads of did some more house stuff, and I did watch Netflix for a while and talked to my mom. And then by Sunday evening, I was like, I kind of want to go back to the pub again. Like that was so much, I guess fun's not quite the right word, but it was just so nice sitting there with, the atmosphere of people around. I wasn't just on my own like I am at home. I was like, I kind of want to go back to the pub. And then decided, as seems to be my phrase today, fuck it, because what is the point of being single and with no kids around if you can't do what you want when you want to? So slicked on a coat of mascara, powdered my nose, put my hair up and went to the pub with my book. And then, so again, this just makes total sense to me. So after this weekend of pushing my edges, lighting myself up, really pouring into myself and doing what lights me up and feeling just like anything is possible to me, I walk into the pub, and who is sitting there but the man who I just absolutely adore, who we are on this break from because it was too good too soon. So the one that it's been 6 weeks now, I haven't seen him since then. We've had a couple little short conversations on text, but that's been it. And yeah, he's sat there having a drink on his own and looks up and is like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? And sat and had it was about a 20-minute conversation with him. He had to dash off because he had a friend showing up at his house. So when he got the call, he had to run. But it just, again, it didn't, although it surprised me to see him, it also in hindsight didn't, because these were the moves I was taking this weekend. This was who I was being. I was really, I wasn't focused on him. I wasn't focused on what anybody else needed or wanted or what I was supposed to or not supposed to be doing. I was so focused on what I needed. And then of course the universe delivers, and here's this man who you've been dying to see. and we had such a nice time. So I think the point of all of that, and well, there's lots of points. There's, like I said, the points are that you fill yourself up first, and that focusing on you and what lights you up is always going to be best, because you then get full of all the overflow, which can then spill out and benefit everybody around you. It's to say, push those edges. When you feel an edge that feels like, oh, this feels uncomfortable, that's exactly when I turn and look and go, I'm going to address this edge. Sometimes I recognize it's an edge and I go, I'm not quite ready yet. But when I recognize an edge, I always work up to it and then go past it. I don't want there to be these edges. I want to keep living life on the edge and the next one, the next one, the next one, because that's how we grow. If we notice an edge and we stay in, then we stay exactly where we are and nothing changes. And I'm not here for that. I'm here for the constant expansion and growth. And then the universe will deliver. The other thing, so that was all of the weekend stuff I was going to talk about. I think, gosh, I have no idea how long I'm talking for today. I will just say one other thing on the love life front, because I know that loads of you love that stuff. And I don't blame you, I would too. It's just that, yeah, so like I said, we're still on pause. I saw him on Sunday, and that was kind of it. And I haven't gone out and started dating anybody else or gone on any apps or anything like that. I will say that this whole dating thing, or even the not dating, the in-between thing, is very vulnerable still. And it's, even again for an intimacy coach like me, who this is my work, this is what I do for myself, for my clients, this is it. It's still not comfortable. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this feels good all the time. I absolutely hate that I am sitting here not knowing what's going to happen. The uncertainty is not a comfortable thing for me. I don't know if I'm going to date this guy again, if we're going to get a second chance. I don't know if it's going to be somebody else. I don't know when any of this is going to happen. I feel a bit like I'm waiting on him to decide, which I don't love that waiting on him. And I know it's not for me to wait. I can obviously, make my own choices and decide to move on whenever I want to do that. But at the moment, I feel like this is worth waiting for. And I feel like this is worth a second chance. So that is what I'm doing. But I don't love it at all. So I just want to share that part as well to say that, the uncertainty, sometimes you can get to a place where the uncertainty is totally fine, doesn't bother you, but like where I'm at right now, this uncertainty does not feel great, but it's part of my work is to sit with it and to hold it and to know that it's okay, to know that I don't have to force certainty, because the only way I can force certainty right now is by walking away. I can't force it to make this happen now. I can't force it to be like, right, we're starting to date, that's it right now. The only way that I can do anything is to walk away, and I don't want to do that. So I have to get comfortable sitting in this unknowing and sitting and knowing that if it works out or it doesn't work out, then either way that's happening the way it's supposed to, but I can't control that. So just want to let you know that whatever, you can relate that to in your life, sometimes sitting with the uncertainty and sitting with the uncomfortableness is the work, and that's just part of it. So the final thing is that I had a question right before I came on. That was, let me see if I can get the wording right. I think it was worded, the question was about how I bring my happy mindset into my everyday life. Like, how do I make this happy mindset kind of my norm? And there's no easy, one answer to it, definitely, which I'm sure you're not expecting, because there never is. But really, it's about making the choice. So I'm not happy all the time. As you know, I share the unhappy stuff. I share the hard stuff like I just did. There's no way I'm going to pretend that I'm always happy and cheerful, because I'm not. But that said, overall, yes, I am quite a happy person. I am quite a cheerful person. I smile a lot. I have a lot of fun in my life. That wasn't always the case. I've said it many times before, but there was definitely a period where I forgot how to have fun. But now, I do. I have a lot of fun in my life. I generally enjoy life. I love it, in fact. But that is a choice in a lot of ways. Now, when I say it's a choice, I don't mean that, when there's really big, hard shit going on, that I can just gonna sit there and be like, oh, well, your dad had a heart attack. Well, it's fine. Choose to be happy about it. No, it's not. I'm not talking about denying the hard stuff in life, because there's always going to be hard stuff. That is just part of how it goes. But what I'm talking about is making the choice to decide every day that you can extract lessons from what's going on, that none of it ever has to go to waste, that you do get a choice in how you view the world. And so even when the hard stuff comes up, it gets to be hard. And I think a big part of it is letting it be hard instead of trying to paper over that. But then in the other times, it's finding the good in life as well. So it's finding that even when stuff is hard, you find ways to bring pleasure in. You find ways to feel good in your system. And then you get more and more of those pockets of feel good build on themselves. And they build and compound over time. And then when in the times where it's not big, hard stuff going on, because hopefully it's not, continuous big, hard shit. But so in those other times, it's choosing to find the fun. It's choosing to find the feel good. It's choosing to get intimate with yourself and healing your things. So when things are upsetting you, it's choosing to say, time out. What is this feeling telling me about me? What do I need to know here? When somebody at work pisses you off because they say something, it's going, okay, I recognize that pissed me off. What about it made me uncomfortable? What made me mad? Is it something in me that I need to change? And I'm not saying because you're the problem ever, but sometimes, maybe you delivered something wrong, in a tone of voice, and you can look at that and go, yep, actually I could have done that differently. Or maybe it's something that actually you look at it and go, actually, this is your thing, not mine. I don't need to take this on. This is a you thing. I'm good with the me things. But so whenever things come up in life that upset you, that make you mad, that just generally don't feel good, it's choosing to take those opportunities to look at, okay, what's going on here? How do I bring this back to what I need? What do I need right now? And really just, choosing the opportunity every day to do what's going to push you and help you grow and what's going to feel fun and good. I'm not sure if that answered the question. Let me know. I feel like I might have talked around it a bit, but let me know what you think. But essentially, like I said, it's a choice. It's not a surface level choice. It's not just a mindset your way through this and it's an easy change, like just choose to be happy and that's it, because it's not that simple at all. It's choosing courage every day. It's choosing to do things in your own path. It's choosing to do things your way and not the way that's been ingrained in us for so long. And then those choices over time compound and lead to, well, me at the moment, I'm going to keep leading to more and more and more. So, cool. Yes, exactly. We choose our thoughts. And I know I've mentioned this one before, but that idea, and this comes up in Amanda Francis's book, which I mentioned at the beginning, her Rich as Fuck book, but she talks about choosing a different mindset. So when a fear thought comes in, you acknowledge the fear, you notice it, you acknowledge it, and then you can choose a different one. So you can say, okay, I know my brain is telling me, like if I use my dating example, like if, in fact, do I have one? So if my fear tells me that like, oh, he's, what if he's never going to call me back and, we're not going to have our second chance. I can acknowledge that. And then instead of like going over and over and over of we're not going to have our second chance, I can choose the different thought of, but my exactly man is never going to pass me up. My exactly man is out there waiting for me. And if we don't get our second chance with this guy, that's because he's not my exactly man. I choose to believe that I'm going to have my exactly man at the exactly right time for me. And I can focus on that thought instead of focusing on the lack and the fear about, but what if he doesn't call back? It's not about him specifically. It's about that future vision. So I can choose that thought. So I think that's everything. Is there anything else I want to say? No, I think that's it. So as usual, I will wrap up with, please let me know in the comments if you want to keep talking about any of this. Send me a message. Always happy to chat. I will do it again next Wednesday. So I will put up the question box on Tuesday, or you can always send me a message in DM. Rach, have you thought of yours yet? I know you said that you thought of one in the car. You can voice note me if you ever want to voice note me the question because you're in the car. You can do that too. So yeah, let me know your questions, and I'll be here next Wednesday at 10. Hopefully, actually at 10. Then the other thing, as always, is if you ever want to dive into any of this, at a deeper level and a more personal level, going through stuff with you, we absolutely can do that. So we can do one-off sessions, which you can book right in my bio. So a single session for an hour video call is £155. You can do a mini package of 3 sessions for £444, or you can do the 3-month deep dive intensive, and that will begin in October. And just send me a message and we can talk about timings on that. But yeah, there's always, if any of this ever brings up anything and you want to do a deeper dive in, that's absolutely what I'm here for. And I would love to talk about it with you. So that's it. And I will say goodbye, and I hope you have a lovely Wednesday, and yeah, chat later.